Hey guys, welcome back to the JPM Performance channel. It is time for a shop tour. It has been a couple weeks, I know, since we've had one, but I appreciate all the comments on the Miata Differential video. If you haven't seen it, check it out down below. In the meantime, it is one of my favorite months, September 1st. So it's one of my favorite months for a couple reasons. The weather is going to cool off here. Already has. It was like in the high 50s this morning. So I love this kind of time of year for the weather. And we're also in the month that we're going to the runoffs, which is my favorite time of year in general. So let's go through the shop. You can see what's going on. It's kind of funny. Over the last couple weeks, shop's been pretty empty and people have been coming by like, man, why is the shop so empty, right? I'm like, well, just give it a week or two and it'll fill up. So let's get into it. This is actually Don Tucker's cylinder head for what was supposed to be his runoffs engine, but we are waiting on a billet crankshaft from overseas to get made. And so what I did here is I got the valve lash all done and the cylinder head is completed with the cams installed. I'm going to take this with me to the runoffs just in case he needs a spare cylinder head. If he needs a spare bottom end, he's in trouble. But got that ready to go, got the cam gears ready to go. No more runoffs engines, we're done with them. Alright, so this is kind of an interesting project. For those of you that have been around Miatas long enough, you know that the rear housings here have a tendency to break. And they break right, always on the passenger side, and always right here at this notch. So Mazda put these notches in here, so in a crash this would break off at the notch, and there I'm making a mess. So it actually gave it a place to break. So what happened was this Miata above us here is they were actually running it at a rallycross. If you don't know what rallycross is, it's beating the piss out of your car on dirt. So when you do that, you have a tendency to have these things happen. So this broke, and then the axle came apart and got destroyed. So we've got a new axle. Whoa! Got a new axle sitting in the car here. Fortunately, his limited slip was okay. So I got a new housing here, and we put, not his limited slip, his differential. The whole differential's okay. Now, actually have a couple of braces coming from Mazda that I'm going to weld into here. To support where this always breaks. So that's what's going to happen next. And as you can see, I found another use for my handy dandy lift so that I don't hurt my back anymore. It's never been that easy to just slide a differential up into a Miata. So we're on a little bit of limbo for a couple days while we wait for that part to come in. But all in all, this is a really well-known problem, and it left them stranded at the event. So we're going to get that fixed up and go from there. Alright, moving on. This is actually just a little roll cage. My buddy Eric bent it up. Actually, I think Joe bent it up, but he put these braces on. I just did some welding on it. That's all that is sitting here. Nothing super exciting. This is an old David Long built RX-7, first gen RX-7. So this is actually the sister car to the car that Justin Pritchard won his national championship in at Elkhart Lake. So that would have been like 2011 or 12 or 13, something like that, when Justin won actually in the ring. This is the sister car to that. It's been in storage for about 10 years. And so getting it resurrected and getting it running, and gonna actually get it sold and out for someone for a project car. So that should be gone. Actually, I think I've got a buyer already who's spoken for it. Haven't seen the money, but I think it's pretty much spoken for. So we're gonna get this running and get it out of here, hopefully in the next couple days. And Doug Weaver's beautiful car is back. Got a whole slew of little things we're going to do to the car this winter. He is not going to the runoffs, and so it's just sitting here waiting for me to get all the runoff stuff done so I can focus on it a little bit. But he repainted this car a couple years ago, and it's got this really nice metallic green with the blue. Looks really good. So for those of you that have been around for a while, this was actually one of the first F production Miatas ever built. This was Mark Stone's car from Texas, and then Brian Lynn had it for a few years after that, and then Doug bought it from Brian. So a lot of history with the car. The car's in actually really good shape. I did a rewire on it last winter and did all sorts of upgrades. So looking pretty good. Eric is just finalizing his shifter for his car. The engine is in and running. So once he gets that finished and we drum up some time to get on the dyno, we'll be good with that. And in the meantime, I've had more and more cars coming to dyno. If you'll remember last year, I did a dyno mashup video for basically everybody that we dynoed in the month of September pre-runoffs. I've already started on some of that, so we're gonna kind of do a second annual one of those. BMW update wise, as you can see, the suspension is in. So it still needs to be aligned, but the entire rear suspension is completed. It would appear that the left rear tire is not turning to the left anymore with the new trailing arm. Got the brakes done and bled. Not much left to do besides some alignment, get all the body back on it, and get back onto the dyno, which will also be part of the dyno mashup. So that's kind of where we're at here. Mounting some tires. You can see we've got some new tires on. So a couple things. You can see right here, I put a little white dot here next to the valve stem. Ran into a couple situations this year where the tire was moving on the rim a lot. And when I mean a lot, I mean like in one session, this was over here. And I don't know exactly what was going on, but I was using a certain tire lube, and I actually ended up mounting these tires, cleaning the wheels and mounting these tires dry in the hopes that this will not rotate on the wheel. Hadn't really had that problem before, and actually had a few people have the same issue, so I don't know if it was a batch of tires or the tire lube that I was using or whatever, but you can see I've got this marked right rear, so that way when I take this off the car, these are going to be first session qualifying tires, which means they're going to get one session and then they're going to come off and go into the trailer, and these will be the tires that I race the race on. So in my opinion, you should scrub your tires in nice and easy, maybe get one, possibly 2 hard laps on them to get them all the way up to temperature, and then cool them off and put them in the trailer for 4 or 5 days before the race, and put them away. So that's why these are marked, so I know where they came off, and I've got the valve stem marked. So little tip of the day when it comes to tires for the runoffs. In the meantime, the very last, some of you probably saw it on Facebook. You don't get to see it right now, but the last runoffs engine is headed out to Joe Carr in California. So this engine's going to get more travel time than any engine that's probably going to the runoffs in general. So it's leaving here today. It is going to the San Francisco area to be installed into his car. The car is being shipped back here, which you will see in a few weeks, so that I can get it tuned and dynoed, and then he is picking it up on his way to Virginia. So Topeka, San Francisco, Topeka, Virginia, back to California. A lot of travel time for this motor, but she's looking really good, and waiting for the semi to come pick it up. Last runoffs motor. So that's kind of where we're at this week, guys. You can see there's lots going on. I did neglect to mention that Steven's car is still sitting up here on the lift, and I am that close to getting really after it. So I needed to get these runoffs motors done, but I am super close to really hitting this car hard this month, and hoping for some really big progress before we head off to the runoffs, maybe even getting it off to the powder coater before we leave. So I've got that going on because, believe it or not, I actually have another one of these coming in to get built the same way. We'll be talking about that in the next month or two or so. So lots going on as always. I appreciate you guys watching, and I really appreciate all of your comments on the different videos on the channel. Happy to answer any questions as always. Hope you guys are doing good, and I hope that the weather's starting to cool off if you live in a hot climate. It's starting to around here, which I get to the point where I'm like done with the hot weather. I'm tired of mowing the grass, ready for a little cooler weather. So we'll talk to you guys next week. Appreciate you watching. Take care.